Hey, Stats. Got another AMI day. Yay. Anyway, today I want to go through at least one of the test study guide. So, difference between the test review and the study guide. And test review is just like the test, only I changed some numbers. Test study guide, some extra questions to help us prepare. Because, I mean, the more the merrier. I posted the test study guide key already on the Google Classroom, and test review I'm going to wait till the day before to post it because I want you guys to try it on your own. But I'm obviously going to push back the test to Thursday, Friday rather than Wednesday, Thursday, because obviously we weren't expecting AMI. But I want to go through that free response on the test study guide with you guys, and give you a rundown of the idea on how to approach it. Also, quick note, don't rely on the answer keys for everything, okay? There's a few times on the homeworks where I've noticed that the answer keys seem really similar to your stuff. If you've been grading them, perfect. That's actually saved me a bunch of time, and I really, really do appreciate it. Especially with this hecticness of AMI. But if you've just been straight copying, I'm a little sad and disappointed by that. But for those who've been using them wisely, you guys are going to benefit in college, and I'm sure you're going to see the growth as well. But beside the point, let me get through the question on the test study guide. And that's going over that one data question. See, I already put all the data in, so you're interested to see how much time students spend on the internet each day. Here are some data on the time spent on the internet. Now, notice that data is plural. So you're going to use plural. It's going to sound weird, but you're going to use plural adverbs to describe data. So it's not data is, it's data are. I know, it's weird. A single data is called a datum. So D-A-T-U-M. I don't know if it's datum or datum. I honestly don't know. But anyway, spent on the internet in minutes for a particular day reported by a random sample of 30 students at your high school. Construct a histogram of this data. Now, constructing a histogram, I actually don't need to do anything with calculators or anything. In fact, you don't need a calculator on this entire section. Maybe to do a quick bit of algebra, but that's about it. Because actually, you're not doing anything with mean and standard deviation. Considering that, you could actually do these by hand, which is pretty nice. So, firstly, let's create a histogram. So, I've already created a histogram over here. But let me tell you how I did it. So firstly, find your bin width. Your bin width is it's the range, so max minus min over about 5 or 6, because you don't want to have like 30,000 bars, but you also don't want to have just one, so 5 or 6 is typically the way to go to. So then your bin width ends up being about 24. So hence why on these x-axis, you have 24s. So that's actually what tells you what's going to be on your x-axis. And actually, I forgot to put minutes. But make sure you label. I will take off at least a half point for every label you miss. So I know I didn't create a title on this one, but because it's already on the question, you don't really need to create a title on here, but you do need to label your x and y axes. Frequency is right here. So frequency being how often they occur, how frequent they appear. Relative frequency is actually percentage. Frequency in general is just your count. So relative frequency, percentage, frequency, count. Cumulative relative frequency is accumulating all of your percentages. So they all have to add up to 100 ideally. Anyway, so between 0 and 24, notice how I didn't include 24, because the maxes are going to be your cutoff, meaning all the way up until 23.9 repeating. So you got 2, and then 24 to 48, there are 14. So you don't include these 48s either. They actually get shoehorned into the next one. So then you got 4 there for your 48 to 72, cut off before 72. Then you have 8, 1, and 1. So that is how you create your frequency diagram or your histogram. Part B is asking, Are there any outliers? Justify your answer mathematically. So like I said, if you don't even have a calculator, you could still find them. Firstly, you're going to need your 5-number summary. 5-number summary is just your min, it's for your box plots, essentially. So min, Q1, median, Q3, and max. You actually do this by hand, so. But calculators you do this as well. So, but to find it mathematically, you do your Q1 minus 1.5 times your IQR, and that's going to be your lower bound or your cutoff. So, LB. And punching that in, you got a negative 40.5. Obviously, you can't have negative time, so there are no minima cutoffs. But we do suspect there might be one for 151. So there you go. 77. So find your upper bound. It's your Q3, and then plus 1.5 times your IQR being 47. IQR being 77 minus 30, which is where we got the 47 at. And then ends up being 147.5. Now we have exactly one outlier, being that 151. That's going to account for an outlier because it's above 147.5. So outlier 147.5, or 151 is actually, I'm full order. 151 is greater than 147.5. So there we go. And probably this kid is terminally online. So yeah. Anyway, part 3 is, would it be better to use the mean and standard deviation or the median and IQR to for the spread of this data? And why? Or to describe the center and spread of this data? Well, let's take a look at the shape of your histogram. It's kind of bimodal, actually, because you got two peak-ish things. But the main thing that kind of looks like is it's about skewed right. So you got that huge peak right there. And after that, just kind of gives you a tail almost. And depending on how you drew your box plot, because there is no one right way to do these, by the way. Because you have skewed data, the best way to describe this is to do the median and IQR, because as you know, outliers, and plus we do have an outlier too. So there's actually multiple reasons why you want to use median and IQR. So first, let me just write that out. So median and IQR. That would be best. And don't be lazy about it, okay? Be thorough with your explanations. Now, because these are like free responses, and you have to make sure you cut off or you check off all your T's and cross all your I's pretty much. That's because, and I'm abbreviating because I'm writing on a chalkboard and I don't want this video to go on forever. The data are skewed right. Skewed right. And consequently, the reason why they even asked you for part B with the outliers is to answer this question as well. And there's an outlier that would affect the mean. Would affect, oh gosh, is it E or A? I think it's A. Affect, that's the verb. Effect would, I think, be the noun. Affect would be mean and standard deviation. All right, cool. Now, if it's asking you to just describe the shape and distribution of your data, you would want to use SOX, right? Now, SOX stands for shape, outlier, center, spread. So, in anything on 1.3 and 1.4, you would need to use your that acronym for SOX. Also, on your test review, there are times where you're wanting to describe certain data and stuff. So if it's asking you for at least 3 sentences, you got to use SOX. So make sure you hit all 4 of those things. So that's one thing. And also, I do remember somebody asking about the calculator online. So let me actually talk about that. So let me share some screen stuff. Because here I actually Is there a share screen button? Yeah, there is right here. So yes, so actually I do use a emulator. Now, I can't tell you because to get it, I use it for teaching purposes because it is free software, meaning that you're able to actually go online and download and then actually change the calculator software. But you saw um, there is a thing called Wabbit EMU. So this whole thing right here. So if you are looking to get one, you could Google it, but I can't legally tell you how to get it because obviously we have the TI-84s in class. So, but because the stats is very data heavy, if you do plan on taking any math classes beyond this in college, then this is actually a good investment. Is to just buy one of the TI-84s is going to serve you so handy, and that's like the only calculator you'll ever need for the rest of your life. I mean, mine from middle school actually still works just fine. And I wanted to get an upgrade because I teach it. So, but yeah, that's the software. It's what it's called. I remember in college actually that was part of our project was to create a link for it or to code it. So I actually know how to code them and everything and create different programs on there, or program is what it's called. So anyway, I guess question one on your Google form would be just how do you guys feel? Are there any question form or question one is, are there any questions we want to go through on the test study guide? So not test review because we're going to finish the test review on Wednesday to glad they're in class, but pick out at least two on the test study guide, all the multiple choice ones, because those are actually very important to try to go through. I have the answer key and worked out online, but don't rely on those because you don't turn this in. You don't turn in the study guide nor the review. It's just for you to practice is see how you're doing. So let me know if you have any questions on that. Email me with any questions or concerns. Google form number one is pick at least two of the questions to go through in class on the study guide. Question two would be your stat of the day. So, yay.